This is Anthony Metivier from magneticmemorymethod.com, and I want to share with you my Mandarin Chinese mnemonics and morning memory secrets. There's no way of learning Chinese with a messy mind, like the one I have, which is a bit crazy and deranged and all over the place. Or is there? Actually, yes, there is. No matter how manic, no matter how depressed, no matter how much I've got on my plate, almost every day I fit language learning into my schedule. And in fact, it is right now every day, going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. One of my best tricks is this. Win the morning and you win the day. And what you can see here is what's beside my bed. Now, some of the books have shifted since that I took this photograph, but that Chinese character book is still there and all the pens, and I just simply don't get out of bed until that I've written down some characters and practiced studying them, what they mean and how they sound. It's just as simple as that. Once I've won the morning, I have won the entire day. Here's the thing. So many people, they reach for their cell phone first thing in the morning, and they make the mistake of using it as an alarm clock so that they have no choice but to check the darn thing first thing in the morning. This just kills all the energy that could be going towards language learning. So if you're serious about learning a language, checking your messages and farting around on social media first thing in the morning is a big no-no. Think about it. How many times have you gotten caught up in the twilight zone of Facebook only to notice that 15 minutes, 30 minutes, even an entire hour has slipped past for nothing? Don't do this to yourself. Here, instead, is how to get language learning in first thing so you feel on top of your progress all day long. I hate having that feeling throughout the day that I'm neglecting what I love, and what I love is memory and language learning. So in addition to winning back oodles of time by not looking at my dumb phone and not turning on the computer, here's what's going on right now. On the floor beside my bed, I have Langenscheid's Chineses Schreibübungs book. And that is a book written in German that teaches how to write the Chinese characters. You can find one in English, but one of the reasons why I like to use the German one is because I know German and I can always get better in German, so I use German to actually learn a different language. And when I study Spanish, I use German books about Spanish. It's really great. You can think of it as what I've heard Benny Lewis call this the laddering technique, and so give it a try. It's a lot of fun. Tucked inside the book is the notebook I'm using to draw the characters, and I don't get out of bed until I've spent as long as it takes to practice drawing 8 characters 8 times. It's really, really awesome. And in some cases, you can actually sound out what the character is like and or what the character sounds like by matching the strokes with the sound. Not always, but it's kind of fun. Why 8? Well, I'd have no idea. That's just the number that came to mind. It's just part of what I learned from Ollie Richards. It's that you must have a language learning system. Languages don't get learned helter-skelter. They get learned based on consistent efforts executed consistently. Seriously, you must have a system. And this is the first part of my system. 8 characters, 8 times. Next, I pop in my human charger and I meditate. And I do this for exactly 9 minutes. Now, why 9 minutes? Well, that's because that's how long it takes for the human charger to shoot its light into my ears. You may have heard me talk about other more relaxed meditation approaches in the past, but I'm experimenting with this one and it works really well. Next, I knock off another of the big 5 language learning activities, which is to spend time listening to your language every day. Listening to Pimsleur language learning programs, for example, Pimsleur for Mandarin Chinese, used to bore the snot out of me. Sorry to be vulgar, but it's true. I used to find listening to these programs super boring. Think about it. You'd listen to the guy promoting you in English to say stuff in the language that you're studying again and again and again and again and again, and it's like pounding nails into your head. But then I had an idea. What if I fuse listening to Pimsleur recordings with the magnetic memory method? Oh ho ho, my magnetic friend. That's when Pimsleur started to get really interesting. Now this might sound complex, but it works. First, you get a notebook and reserve it for your magnetic memory method Pimsleur experiment. Then get out a pen and pop on your headphones. Next, make a couple of columns, English or whatever your mother tongue is, the homophonic transliterations you're going to make, a column for mnemonic imagery, a column for the words, and a column for any notes that you want to make, like about grammar points and so forth. Also, leave space to draw a memory palace on the page Draw one out using all the principles of the magnetic memory method that you've learned from one of my books or video courses, and get ready to rock, because it's all very easy peasy, and yes, even lemon squeezy. I love that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. One magnetic memory method student put it this way once, and I've never forgotten it. It's a nice rhyme. And now you're set. So keep the pause button handy on your headphones when you're listening to the Pimsleur recording, and then press play. And when the man introduces how to say something like, "Excuse me, may I ask?" pause the recording and then write this down in your English column. Then, after you hear the native speaker say it in your target language, write out what you hear in your own spelling and say it out loud and spell it in whatever way seems best to you. Don't make the mistake of overthinking this. Just do it. And don't worry about standardizing your homophonic transliterations. Literally, you're just helping your mind understand the sound and meaning of the phrases using multiple senses and muscles. And I'm serious. I can't tell you the dozens of different ways I've spelled different phrases, and it just doesn't matter. I can speak them in the target language, which in this case is Chinese. Next, think up some imagery that helps you memorize the words. Whatever comes to mind, whatever imagery. And if you're following along, the brief meditation will have you calm, relaxed, and juiced up with creativity. So I hope you're following along those earlier steps, because when you in the morning and you include meditation as part of your morning, you really are going to be ready and prepared for some memory miracles. Once you've got all this whipped up, stick it on, at, beside, or even under your first Memory Palace station. I'm talking here about the imagery. And then press play again and carry on. And what will happen next is that you will experience a language learning miracle, because soon the Pimsleur guy will ask you to say that phrase for which you just created mnemonic imagery again. Then you press pause, and instead of hoping and wishing and praying that the material will come back to you, you'll look into your imagination, not at the page that you were writing, but in your imagination, in your Memory Palace, and then you'll decode the image that you placed on the station in your Memory Palace. You got it? Of course you get it, because the reality is that if you know mnemonics, there is never any problem with them. Never. Anyhow, I do this until I filled out one page of my notebook. Can you guess how much time this costs so far? Go on. Have a guess. Nope. Doesn't take that long. Still no, that's way too long. I think you're getting closer. Oh, all right, I'll just tell you, it's 15 to 20 minutes, more or less, this morning ritual. And all thanks to cutting out morning social media and 3 little systems that I use. 8 by 8 characters, 9 minutes of meditation, and 1 page of magnetic memory methodified Pimsleur. And do this for a month, and you're going to be further along than most people will get in a lifetime of starting and stopping with a language learning program. But wait, there's more about memorizing Mandarin Chinese that I want to teach you. So far, we've covered 4.3 of the big 5 of language learning. So the big 4 that most people talk about is writing, reading, listening, and memorization, and a touch of solo speaking all on your own. But that's where my speaking partners come in. You can't expect to learn a language without actually speaking it. Now, sometimes what I do with my speaking partners is rather elaborate, and there's more coming on that in a minute. The important thing is that I speak with them, plain and simple. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't even have to be right. It just has to be time spent in the field, in the gutter, in the ditches, just speaking stuff coming out of your mouth. And I do this at least 2 times a week, ideally 3. I'm going to China in about 2 weeks, and I have a lesson booked every single day from now until then, and it's just fantastic. The only problem is this approach to language learning is almost 100% introverted, right? And talking with speaking partners online is technically communicating with other human beings, technically, but it's too solitary. And this is why I propose that there's a 6th component that needs to be added to the big 5, which is socialization. Think about it. Are you going to go through all the work of learning a language just to speak with people online? Of course not. You want to be able to strike up conversations with the locals when traveling. You want to be able to order a memory-friendly drink in a restaurant, or in a restaurant, or abroad, like a restaurant locally or somewhere in the world, right? And you want to be able to flirt with cute members of the opposite sex, maybe even find the partner of your dreams. I know I do. So please stay tuned for more language learning for introverts and socialization secrets coming soon. And in the meantime, check out some of the previous Magnetic Memory Method podcast episodes and videos with other great language learners for in-depth tips and training. So for example, on the website, you can find Luca Lamprelio on how to master any language. You can find Mindset, Memory, and Motivation with Sam Jeanreau, and you can find a post from Noel Van Vliet talking about the back end of language learning. I hope you enjoyed this quick little video presentation. It is based on one of the podcasts on magneticmemorymethod.com. If so, head on over to the website, magneticmemorymethod.com, and you'll find a whole lot more to enjoy. Talk to you soon.